watching this video, you want to know how to become an elite student. You want to know how to get straight A's, get a 4.0, get killer recommendations from your teachers, get into one of the top universities, stop being just average, and actually be a high achiever. This video is for you because in my life, I had to go from someone who was borderline failing with her grades, just getting by, to someone with a 3.98 GPA, heavy load of advanced courses, and pretty much straight A's with some occasional B's here and there. Hi Nervous friends, and welcome back to my sleepover. Today's video is the 4th episode in the 30 Day to Glow Up series, which is a series on my channel where I talk about glowing up every single area of your life, be it physical or non-physical. And today's episode is all about, you guessed it, glowing up your grades. So the structure of this video is kind of going to be like, where first I'm going to talk about how you can approach each subject in a way that's going to make you successful and make it so much easier for you to actually receive the good grade in it, because receiving a good grade is not just about studying, it's not just about repetition, it's also partly your strategy and you understanding what it actually takes in that class to be successful. So I'm going to be telling you guys what that actually is and how to find that out. And I'm going to be sharing tips with you on how to get your teachers to be more lenient with you, get your teachers to like you, moving on to actual study tips and concentration tips. The first thing that I'm going to tell you is something that differentiates average student from actual straight A students. What straight A students do differently is actually not neglect the syllabus. I know whenever the teacher, the professor gives out the syllabus on the first day of class, no one bothers to look at it. You just shove it into your bag and off it goes to the back of your closet. That is a deadly mistake because the syllabus is like a rule book to a game. If you don't know what it takes in that class to actually get an A, how do you expect yourself to get a good grade? Here's what you're gonna look at in the syllabus. First of all, with every single syllabus, the first and most important thing that you're gonna look at is the grading percentages. The grading percentages are going to tell you exactly which assignments you're going to focus your energy on in each class, because you don't want to be working and giving your all to an assignment that's only going to be worth 10% and then missing out on class participation, which might be worth 20% in that class, and getting a lower grade just because you didn't pay attention to the grading percentages. I've had this happen to me. I had a class once where I just decided not to read the syllabus. I was too lazy, I couldn't be bothered, and I was used to the quizzes either being ungraded or just being 5% of the grade, which is not that much. So I skipped a lot of them. I didn't try on them, and then halfway throughout the year I'm talking with someone, I'm like, oh yeah, who cares about the quiz, they don't even count towards the grade, right? And then the girl turns to me and she's like, they're 30% of your grade for this class. And I'm like, excuse me, what? If there's an essay that gives you 30% of your grade for that class, focus on doing well on that essay. If it's mostly quizzes for that class that make up a lot of the grade, focus on that and just give most of your energy to whatever is the highest percentage. Don't neglect the rest of it, obviously, but that's going to give you a really good starting point on what you should focus on and what you can make sure to put effort into to get a good grade. The second thing that you need to be paying attention to is the class outcomes section, or whatever it is called in your case. And basically it's going to say things like, by the end of this class, the student will be able to blah blah blah. That's what you're going to highlight. You're going to highlight every single point. Like maybe it says the student will be able to compare and contrast different political systems across the countries. I don't know, anything. You're going to highlight every single point like that, especially the words of action. If it says compare and contrast, highlight that. If it says describe, highlight that, because that's going to tell you what you should focus on when studying for that class. If it's a lot of compare and contrast, then definitely whenever you're studying, reading your textbook, making your notes, focus a lot on drawing comparisons between the things that you're learning. That's your cheat sheet on what you'll need to hit on your exam for that class. The third thing in your syllabus, which usually is in the syllabus, but it can also be separate for some classes, is the schedule. The schedule is important because a lot of teachers and professors have a tight emphasis on deadlines, and if you don't submit things on the deadline, you're gonna get percentages off your grade, as well as you don't want to show up to school one day and be told that you have a test which was actually written in the schedule the whole time, but you never bothered to check the schedule and now you're unprepared. Kind of get the rough idea of the timeline of the class and when each assignment is going to be starting, and what is going to take you from just a basic student who has an idea of, oh, this is how the class works, to an actual elite student who's on top of things and gets the best grades, is to actually have an online calendar that you use, not just a Google calendar that you never look at, but the calendar that you look at every single day. You can get a physical one, you can make a digital one like I made myself, and write every single one of the key dates for your subject in there. And whenever you get an assignment for the class, write it down, because before I had a planner, a lot of the times I've had a problem where there would be an assignment and I would completely forget about it because I didn't write it down anywhere, and I just relied on my memory, which you think it's a good idea in the moment, but it's actually not, because you're so much more likely to forget things. And it also kind of takes off a mental load when you write it down somewhere and you don't have to think about remembering it all the time. This is my layout. If you guys want to take it for yourself, you definitely can. But moving on to what can help you actually maximize your grade when it comes to each assignment is another paper that everyone seems to neglect when it's given out. And you guys might be like, why are you so focused on papers? Because they actually help. This is the game plan to your assignment. The rubric has helped me hit the top grade every single time, not only with my class assignments, but also with AP exams. You want to read the description of a failing grade in the class, a passing grade in the class, and the top grade in the class, because those are the ones that are going to have key differences. A lot of the times the rubric can be vague, but other times it can say something that you can do so easily to make sure you get a top grade. For example, the rubric for a C or a pass grade might be saying the student describes the differences between the political parties in these countries with giving limited examples, maybe, or without giving examples. That's something it might say. And the top grade might say the student describes the political situation, whatever I said in the first part, and supports their claim with factual relevant evidence. That right there is just gonna tell you that you need to have evidence that actually supports and matches your claim. And when the person grading sees that, they're gonna immediately take you from the passing grade to the top grade. Easy like that. Just look for the things that the top grade description has that the passing grade description doesn't, and then make sure to add those things into your assignment or your essay, and that's your golden ticket to turn your C into an A. Moving on to the second section of this video, it is also important to get your teacher to like you, because if they like you, they're gonna be more likely to give you a higher grade, to give you extensions of the deadline sometimes if you need them, and be a little more lenient when it comes to you. And the first thing that you can do to get your teacher to like you is using the halo effect in psychology. The way you can use it is, first of all, sit in front of the class. I know you don't want to do it, but it's gonna help you a lot. If you sit in front of the class, the teacher will automatically assume that you're actually trying and interested in the subject. Similarly, try your best to have everything together for the first week. Ask them questions, actively listen, pay attention, take notes, and have every single one of your assignments on time. Because if you show from the very beginning that you're dedicated, you're serious, and you're there to get a good grade, if you happen to mess up later on, maybe you're kind of behind on a deadline and you're gonna email them a little bit ahead of time, they're gonna be more likely to make an exception for you because they already know that you're a dedicated student who wants to do well. But definitely don't abuse this by any means, because everyone will be able to tell. And with this point, I kind of want to expand and talk about that it's always worth asking about something. I've had countless times where I was behind on a deadline, or I forgot to submit an assignment, and I wrote an email to the professor just explaining the whole situation, and because I was on time the whole time before that, the professor made an exception. So whatever it is, communicate it, or if you get a bad grade, just communicate it to your teacher that your expectation is to do your best in this class, and ask them for any tips going forward that you can use to make sure that you get better grades for other assignments, and maybe they're even going to be willing to give you some extra credit. When it comes to studying for the class, prep books and YouTube videos are the best kept secret that is going to give you such a good grade for the class. If you're taking a class that is basically the same worldwide, like AP US History, or maybe you're taking AP Psychology, AP anything, or A-levels if you're in a British system, or whatever Australians have. I honestly don't know what you guys have. If you're watching this, I'm sorry. But basically, if you have a class that is pretty widespread and it has pretty much the same curriculum everywhere, then you can definitely feel free to look it up on YouTube. Look up your class name and whatever topic you're studying. Even sometimes you can try looking up your textbook and the chapter, and you're gonna get a lot of lectures from other teachers that have posted it to YouTube, which you can use if your teacher at your school is not the strongest in that subject, or if you need some extra revision, or if you want one more person to explain it to you. That's going to help you a lot. At the same time, use Crash Course. It helped me pass AP exams. It helped me pass university exams. You can look up the class and people's study tips for that class. So you can look up something like AP seminar study tips, or how to get a 5 in AP US History. There are so many people that have done the class that are giving their study tips. There are so many tutors that are giving you strategies to do well in the exams. Use YouTube, it's incredible. You can also use prep books. It's going to help you a lot because it's written by the people who know the AP exam and they know what you need to study for it. When it comes to studying on breaks, you might be studying for way too long and then kind of getting burnt out, and then your 10-minute break turns into an hour break, which you kind of don't want to do. One thing that I found that helps me a lot with this is a Pomodoro timer. Pomodoro timer breaks up your studying into 20 or 25-minute chunks. Each one you're gonna have a 5-minute break in between, and then you're gonna have one 15-minute or 25-minute break. I don't really remember, either in the middle or by the end of the chunk. Sounds so silly, but I tried it and it was so easy to focus for me, and I actually got done way more than I ever got done just sitting down and studying for an hour straight. And here's also a really cool psychology hack that you guys can use to help you study. You can use either perfumes or scented candles for this, but basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna keep that candle and light it only when you're studying. First of all, that's gonna be your focus candle, and second of all, your brain is going to associate sensing that scent with studying. So whenever you don't feel like studying, you're just gonna light the candle, and that's going to prime your brain for studying. Your brain is going to automatically start getting into study mode if you've paired the scent and studying enough times. Maybe you've done it for a week where you only study when that candle is lit and the scent is present. Your brain is going to create a connection between those two. So after that, when you light that candle and you smell that scent, your brain is automatically going to be getting into study mode. And one more thing from the study tips section that I want to tell you guys is honestly the study hack that works really well for literature classes where you have an assigned reading and you haven't done the reading, which I'm gonna let my past self explain. Definitely check out this video right here. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!